If you were no longer affected by the judgment of others and you stopped judging yourself, would you make different choices? Why make choices in your life based on judgments instead of on your awareness of what would create the life and living you desire? Everyone has the potency to make inspired choices. Get ready to listen, share, and experience the creativity that is you. Now, here is the host of Inspired Choices Radio Show, Possibilities Coach Christine McIver. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and 5 p.m. Pacific Time on A2Zen.fm.
Welcome, everyone, to the Inspired Choices Radio Show. I am your host, Christine McIver, and do we have a special night planned for you? Hold on to your hats, and you better get a roll of toilet paper. That's all I'm saying. Okay? So we have a really awesome show planned for you tonight, and I've actually brought in one of my favorite guests, friends, crazy players in this reality, Joanne Del Corre, and she is going to rock the airwaves tonight with me, and we're going to have more fun than we've ever had before, because that's just what Joanne and I do when we're together playing and creating. So tonight our show is, Does Your Shit No Longer Fit? Now, I will admit, I will do a confession here. I came up with the title. So Joanne, if it doesn't work, you can blame me. I'm just saying. I'm okay with that. No problem.
I'm just thinking of the R rating. You know, is this for family? Is this for
whatever.
family?
Whatever.
You never know who's listening. My gosh.
Well, you know what? They
Children.
better get... Okay, Joanne, get over yourself. It's 8 o'clock. The little bugger should be in bed. I'm just saying. So before we get into the show, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, then I'm going to tell you about the show and Joanne, and then we're going to get right to it. Oh, we just got told in the chat room to cut that shit out. Okay. Oh, my God, this is going to be fun. All right, so I am a possibilities coach, and working with clients, I co-create the living and loving that they desire with all the possibilities available in the universe. I'm an Access Consciousness Certified Facilitator, Bars Facilitator, Body Process Facilitator, Right Body for You Taster Facilitator, Energy Healer, radio show host, producer, website builder, and so much more. I love doing different things, and I love being different and creating in the world. Is that something you might be interested in, creating something new in the world? My programs assist people in bringing more possibilities to actualization. Now, I do charge for my services, but the first 5 minutes are always free. So if you're interested in learning a little bit more, why don't you give me a call, email me, check out my Facebook page, my website, and let's connect and see what we can change in the world. So tonight, does your shit no longer fit? Have you become so used to the shit that is the story of you that you are known for? Do you now notice that it is an old story, like an old pair of jeans that no longer fit? Or has the intensity of your reality become so heightened that you can no longer sit in the shit of it? That was kind of rhymey, eh? What if you were to give it up? Send it back. Hit the flush button now. Are you willing to do something different? Joanne Del Corre is my amazing guest. Joanne is an emotional intelligent strategist. Joanne is, she works with individuals creating different realities. She's trained and certified in emotional intelligence with an international client base throughout North America, Europe, and the UAE. Her work specializes and revolves around the emotional health of individuals, employees, and schools, particularly in the areas of negativity, anxiety, and depression. She breaks new ground through her bold and impactful approach to thinking, traditional thinking models. Joanne is a sought-after speaker. I sought after her for tonight, facilitator and consultant, and has been interviewed and featured as a guest expert on radio shows, magazines, and panel discussions. She runs a private practice and works with individuals to build knowledge, learning, and fluency around the emotional experiences. Her group work and workshops are in demand with student communities such as the University of Toronto, York University, Ryerson University, and I know there's some other schools as well that she's going to be telling us about. You can connect with Joanne at joannedelcore.com. That's JoanneDelcore.com. Joanne, welcome to the show, my friend.
Merci. I'm so excited to be here tonight.
Yay! I'm so excited to have you.
I always have such a great time with you, Christine, because it goes, like you said, off the chain sometimes, and it's so brilliant to create like that with someone. You know, it's just amazing and go to different levels.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Oh, thank you for joining, because I know I had created this show, and then you popped for me to have you come play with me tonight, and it's always so much fun. One of the reasons Joanne and I love to play together is because we don't have a point of view if we don't agree, and we don't get upset with each other, which is so. It's such a generative. It's a generative way for us to be with each other.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I love that we just don't make each other wrong with our differences in opinion. So that's pretty, and you know, how much of that can we learn about in the other relationships that we have in our lives, right? Like how much space do we create for each other to, you know, to show up in our unique ways and our unique abilities and our unique thoughts and still remain connected, even though those thoughts or ideas are not necessarily, I don't know, intertwined with each other. So right. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful way to engage with someone. I highly recommend it.
Find somebody you can argue with and still like on the other side. How's it get any better than that?
Exactly.
So this show, I'm just going to kind of say for me what popped for me, why this show kind of, the title popped for me and all of it is like, how much are we... And you see this too, Joanne, in your practice, I know. How much are we in the constant same old behaviors and energies and ways of being, even when things around us are changing and we may be changing, but our story, our quote-unquote shit, remains the same, at least in our mind and in our choices and our behaviors?
You know, I'm going to say this. I think
Here we go, and we're off.
You know, I don't know if you have a specific example in mind to illustrate that idea, but what I'm going to say is the only times that I am so profoundly connected to my own SHIT is when I'm actually in relationship with somebody, because I get to see how I show up with them, and I get to be mirrored by them as well. So it's sort of like my way of knowing how far I've come when I'm relating to somebody. And if I see that old stuff is starting to pop up, like my behavior or what I'm saying or the things that I do, you know, if I'm sort of don't like what they say and then I shut down, well then, oh, that's an old behavior that's popping up. So it's almost like it's a mirror effect. And that's sort of the most powerful way that I can recognize if my old stuff is coming up.
That's an excellent example. I really do like that example. There's, you know, I found personally, I'll get a thought straight here in a second. I found personally that it's through relationships for me too that I've been most challenged and where I've been most triggered, and as well that change has dynamically been moved forward. So, you know, who was it? There's lots of different people out there that are talking about, you know, when we're telling our story. And I know, you know, that I do access consciousness, and one of the things that they talk about is do not tell or buy the story. So for me, I know very many years, Joanne, I would tell the story, and you heard me tell it a billion times. I would tell my story about being the quote-unquote victim of my ex-husband.
Yes.
And I would tell that story and tell that story. I was beating that story till it was like dead on the ground, right? Yeah. And I would tell it and tell it and tell it. And
you were trying to prove that it was constantly right, that story, that it was, you're just trying to really reiterate the proof of that story and it being right in your life. That's what I found, at least. By talking about it so much, it became more you, and there was nothing else that, yeah, do you see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying? It's like the reiteration of the story, or what we continue to think about or what we continue to talk about actually then does become us. So you argue for your weaknesses, they belong to you, kind of thing.
I like that. You argue for your weaknesses and they belong to you.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, it was the thing in my life that had the biggest charge. And I had also given it the most significance. And so it became so overloading that it was the thing that kept showing up in my personal reality, in my mind. And what was really interesting was that one day I just kind of smacked myself right between the eyes with it. And I was like, wait a second, why do I keep telling this story? As if nothing had ever changed. And yet the one constant in our lives is change. And when I looked, I remember when this took place. So I actually, the relationship concluded, the physical being together, the divorce happened in 2000. And I remember exactly where I was. I was in Burlington, in my home in Burlington, and that was in 2013 when it smacked me right between the eyes. And I went, wait a minute, I am not the same person I was in 2000, not by a long shot. So why do I hold on to the same old story when it really doesn't fit anymore? It's not true. And how much was I actually hurting myself, re-hurting myself, re-engaging and re-sitting back down into the shit every time I kept telling the story and buying into that had any real significance in my life?
Well, here's what I'm going to say to that. Like, thinking about the negative point of view or thinking about how unworthy we are, how unlovable we are, is actually quite addictive to believe. It's so much easier for us to believe in the negative than it is for us to believe in our most highest potential, which I find, the sort of the reason why we're on this planet is to consistently resist the negative thinking, and that's sort of the lesson unto itself anyway. So I don't know. I think what I really want to say with all of this is the only way that we can really look at our stuff or the stories that we tell ourselves is if we consistently have that inner dialogue and that sort of self-awareness muscle that says to us, oh my gosh, I'm saying it again, or oh my gosh, it's popping up again. Sometimes we can't do that unless we're actually in relationship with others. I'm going to keep poking at that relationship bit because it's been really huge for me. There's only so much growth you can have on your own. And there's only so much self-awareness you can have by yourself.
Right.
And so I'm just going to say that because I think partnership is really huge.
And partnership doesn't need to mean a sexual partner. It can be a parent to child. It can be
even your conversation with a cashier when you're doing the groceries.
Exactly.
Like, why is this cashier giving me freaking attitude? Well, let me look at what I'm projecting here. Let me look at what I'm impacting in this space with this person. I love it. I love this whole notion of having, having sort of navel gazing when you're in partnership with somebody else, because it's the ultimate in personal development. It's the ultimate. You cannot escape what you are putting out there with the people around you. You can't escape it.
You can't. You can put on blinders to it. But when it starts to get stinky, you might want to look at it.
Yeah.
Okay. So we are going to take our first break of the evening. And when we come back, we're going to continue to talk about story in relationship to other people. And then I'd like to get into how we can begin to use tools to change that. So you are listening to Inspired Choices with Joanne Del Corre as my guest tonight on A to Zen.fm, and we will be right back after this commercial break. Stay tuned.
Many of us make choices in our lives based on the past or what others think. What would our lives be like if we made our choices based on what we desire in this moment? By tuning into Inspired Choices radio show with Possibilities coach Christine McIver, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to do just that. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to create the life and living you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices radio show.
What would you say if I told you that you could change your life in only 1 hour and all while lying down relaxing? Thousands of people all over the world have. What am I talking about? It's called Access Consciousness, the bars. The bars is an energetic body process that contains 32 different points on your head that when run assist you in releasing decisions about any area of your life that you have made solid and as a result cannot change. The bars is the first class in Access Consciousness, a dynamic set of tools and information designed to transform any area of your life. When you have a bars session, the worst that can happen is you feel like you had a fantastic massage. The best thing that can happen is your whole life could change. Go to accessconsciousness.com today to find a facilitator to schedule a private session or to find a bars class in your area. Are you willing to give yourself an hour to change your life?
Being visible, being social, being heard. What desires are you ready to create? Would you like to take the next step to creating a potent presence on the web? Would it create more possibilities and expansion in your life? BeingVisible.ca offers website, social media, radio show creation, and more. Creating with consciousness, bringing the energy of you to your audience. Are you ready to connect with your audience clearly, regularly, and with ease? Christine McIver and Carol Glover work with individuals and organizations to create a powerful presence on the web. Personal attention and one-on-one training creates the ease with expanding you. Are you ready? Connect today at beingvisible.ca.
This is Inspired Choices radio show with Possibilities coach Christine McIver. To participate in the program today, please call toll-free in the U.S. 815-880-8255, TALK, or Canada 613-800-8736. Or you can Skype us. Our Skype name is a2zen.fm. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine@inspiredchoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. We are joined tonight by my wonderful friend and amazing creator in consciousness, Joanne Del Corre. And are we going to tell them the secret now, Joanne, or we want to do it later?
Oh, I don't care. Go for it. Do it. Do it now. Do it
really?
now.
Well,
yeah.
I don't think the people in the chat room really want to hear the secret. We'll just forget it. We won't tell them right now. Anyway, so
they're having a massive conversation in the chat room. We cannot not talk about that.
Sure we can. We can do anything we want. We're the ones in charge. Right? They just have to sit there and listen. I am really thrilled to say that Joanne and I have been friends for 6 years, 7 years. We've known each other for some time. Well, probably lifetimes, actually. But Joanne and I love playing together. We love creating together, and there's just always so much joy. So Joanne has actually agreed to come back on the radio and to co-host with me once a month. And we are going to be playing together. We're going to be creating more. We're going to be having more fun. And it is going to be off the chain. Now watch the chat room go nuts. They're starting to go nuts. So awesome. I know, Carol. I was just as excited when she agreed to doing this with me. And I just love playing with you. And
I do too, Christine. It's really, it's really lovely to be able to I just feel like it's always a playground with you, but there's a playground with a point to it. It's not just like we're running around trying to catch each other. We're just running around trying to sort of catch something together and then to create something to contribute to the world, which to me is worth $1 million.
Princess A's M says, about damn time, Joanne. See, I told you the peeps wanted you back, girl. I knew it.
Yeah, I hear ya. I'm back.
Woohoo!
I'm so excited
no,
about it.
No, you're not
so
back.
Excited.
You're forward. We're both forward. We're both moving forward in the world, and we're creating change. And this is what tonight's show is really all about. It's about getting us all out of our shit and the stories that we tell over and over again, or the lies that we keep buying into that something is true for us. So, I poke Joanne. Joanne pokes me when we get into our old patterns and our old stories.
Because it does happen, It does happen. Just because we do this work does not mean that we are privy to any. Does not mean that we're immune to it, right? I mean, we have to deal with the hells of the situation in many areas of our lives. But I believe that because we have such a attuned awareness now about things, we can sort of stop them before they get aggravated even more so. So that's sort of something to look forward to as you continue doing personal development work.
Exactly. And if you have a topic that you would like Joanne and I to discuss, we would love to hear from you. You can contact Joanne at joannedelcorey.com or myself, Christine, at inspiredchoices.ca. Or you can find us all over social media. Just type our names in. You'll get us. So Rioa says, for years I was the girl who overcame bipolar. When I let that go, I was able to share my story when it would make a difference and plant a seed for possibilities. It gave me the freedom to be so much more and not have that be who I was. That's phenomenal. So how many of us have a story and through that story we label ourselves, and every label then becomes a limitation of what we can create and become.
Right. Or how many of us have a memory of a past moment of fear that allows us to sort of get hooked in the past moment again. How many times does that happen?
Right.
It happens to me quite often.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what are some of the tools that you use, Joanne, when you want to move past that?
I think they are varied, but I'm going to say that the most powerful one for me is to really reach out. So if they're in moments where I know I have some time and I can work through it, I'm going to connect with someone like, say, Christine, or somebody who's on my sort of support group system, and reach out and really talk about, sometimes it takes me 10 minutes to sort of talk it out, and sometimes it takes me 1 minute, and then I'm able to shift very quickly, and sometimes I'm not, depending on how deep the layer is or how thick that story is that I've told myself. And other times I go into a lot of affirmation work. So what I've been really fine-tuning is sort of the thoughts that I've been telling myself, or the thoughts that I'm starting to plant into the seeds of my consciousness. So I'm really active around cleaning up the fertile ground in my thoughts, and then planting the seeds. So every day I'm, or in a moment when I'm having a negative thought or a negative memory of something that really triggers me, I'll recognize that thought, and then I'll immediately shift it into a positive affirmation, or shift it into something that's going to kick it right out of the can and loosen its grip on me. So that's been extremely effective for me. I know it seems really simplistic. I never used to be a huge fan of affirmations, but I'm sort of a tool girl. I like to sort of poke into different tools, and right now that's sort of the tool, my go-to tool. And it's been really, really effective, unbelievably effective, actually. Yeah.
Cool.
What about you?
Well, one of the tools that that I use, that I've learned from Access, is anything that's heavy is a lie. Anything that's heavy is a lie. So what I have been really putting in my toolbox and using over and over again is okay, the minute I can identify that it's heavy. So sometimes when we're in it, we can't, kind of recognize it, like you said before. And so whenever it is, whether it's instantaneously or the next day or a week from now, okay, anything that's heavy is a lie. And then I will ask myself, if this label is not really who I am, what else is possible? If this story is no longer true, what else is possible? So
and how
it's not,
effective is that for you?
It's like unlocking the door and the door starting to crack. It really does have me go into that curious energy.
That's
because
a huge energetic shift, eh? Because when you feel like
huge.
complete, CRAP, and then you ask yourself that question, it's like, oh my God.
Did you just spell the word crap?
Yeah, because I think there are children listening to this show.
You're nuts. You're crazy. And I love you, but you're crazy. Go to bed. If you're listening to this show, go to bed. Too funny. Everyone else is saying it. Joanne is spelling it. So funny. And laughter. Oh my God. Laughter. That is one of the greatest contributions to lifting your shit, is laughter. When you can find something to laugh about, you become less ingrained in the crap. It allows you to begin to step back and get some space with whatever is occurring. And I'm telling you, it's really be cognizant of what you're listening to, what you're watching. Today, Joanne and I were talking, kind of doing a little bit of pre-show, not a lot of pre-show, and Joanne's like, we're right in the middle of it. Joanne goes, oh, Christine, did you see that video of Jimmy Fallon? And I'm like, what? And Jack Black was on with Jimmy Fallon last night, and apparently this video has gone viral. Well, the two of us have to stop in the middle of what we're doing, and we go and watch that, and we have so much laughter. And
I'm so
really
determined to turn this into a Jimmy Fallon experience, I have to tell you.
Okay, truth be told, we just want to get on to Jimmy Fallon. That's the truth, guys.
But how amazingly, like how much of a master is he at creating unstuckness for people, right? Like I bet the reason why people watch him is because he is a source, he's like a tool of unstuckness.
He is a tool
I'm going to
of
say
unstuckness.
that Jimmy Fallon is my tool. He's one of my tools of unstuckness.
Okay, his wife may not like it. I'm just saying.
Get your head out of the freaking gutter, okay?
What? We're talking about shit, so.
I know, that's true. And you started with, you'll need a roll of paper. What did you say?
Toilet paper. You may need a roll of toilet paper. But laughter is actually one of the greatest gifts that we have on this planet. And it is one of the most underrated, impactful traits that we can really bring into our life all of the time and to shift everything in our lives. It unlocks the heaviness. Our whole body, it's like an exercise for our inner self, and it starts to really unlock those places. And laughter can heal the earth. So everywhere that everyone is buying into their story being significant and stopping them, can we please all give that up? And as we say in Access Consciousness, would everybody be willing to destroy and uncreate all of the lies around that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes? Okay, cool. Right, wrong, good, bad, POC, pot, all nine shorts, boy, and beyonds. So if you've never heard that before, that's the Access Consciousness clearing statement. And it's weird, it's wacky, and it works. You can read more about it and hear more about it at theclearingstatement.com. Basically what it does is everything is energy. Even our emotions are energy. And that clearing statement helps to, I like to call it, it's like playing Jenga, and it just pulls the bottom stick. No, it's not stick. What is it? Block. It pulls the bottom block out from it, and it starts to unravel. So there's so many tools out there. That's one of the tools. If that's something you're interested in learning more about, check it out, theclearingstatement.com. So we are going to go for our second break of the night, and we're going to maybe see if there's some more questions in the chat room because it's going pretty fast. Mm-hmm. Somebody got a gold star.
I think we're missing a lot of questions in the chat room, Christine. Oh my gosh.
Okay. Well, maybe my 3 brilliant co-producers that are in there could grab some of those questions and repost them for us, so we can be the lazy buggers here. And
because I'd be curious to hear how other people, what other people are using as their tools.
Yeah, awesome.
Stop the stories, yeah.
That would be great. Mm-hmm. So if you are listening to this in the replay, please know you can connect with Joanne and I and ask us any questions too. This is being recorded live right now, but in the future, please feel free to contact us because this is what we love to do. So you are listening to Inspired Choices Radio on A2Zen.fm with Christine McIver and Joanne Del Corre, and we are going to be back right after this commercial, so stay tuned.
Many of us make choices in our lives based on the past or what others think. What would our lives be like if we made our choices based on what we desire in this moment? By tuning into Inspired Choices Radio Show with Possibilities Coach Christine McIver, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to do just that. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to create the life and living you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices Radio Show.
Being visible, being social, being heard. What desires are you ready to create? Would you like to take the next step to creating a potent presence on the web? Would it create more possibilities and expansion in your life? BeingVisible.ca offers website, social media, radio show creation, and more. Creating with consciousness, bringing the energy of you to your audience. Are you ready to connect with your audience clearly, regularly, and with ease? Christine McIver and Carol Glover work with individuals and organizations to create a powerful presence on the web. Personal attention and one-on-one training creates the ease with expanding you. Are you ready? Connect today at beingvisible.ca.
What would you say if I told you that you could change your life in only 1 hour and all while lying down relaxing? Thousands of people all over the world have. What am I talking about? It's called Access Consciousness, the bars. The bars is an energetic body process that contains 32 different points on your head that, when run, assist you in releasing decisions about any area of your life that you have made solid and as a result cannot change. The bars is the first class in Access Consciousness, a dynamic set of tools and information designed to transform any area of your life. When you have a bars session, the worst that can happen is you feel like you had a fantastic massage. The best thing that can happen is your whole life could change. Go to accessconsciousness.com today to find a facilitator to schedule a private session or to find a bars class in your area. Are you willing to give yourself an hour to change your life?
This is Inspired Choices Radio Show with Possibilities Coach Christine McIver. To participate in the program today, please call toll-free in the U.S. 815-880-8255, TALK, or Canada 613-800-8736. Or you can Skype us. Our Skype name is A2Zen.fm. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine@inspiredchoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. So we are here tonight with Joanne Del Corre, and we are talking about our stories and our labels and how we stay stuck in them and how they start to get really stinky and what we can do to actually change all of that to give us greater possibilities, greater freedom, and more choices, way more choices. Choices are phenomenal. We've got so many amazing comments in the chat room. It's kind of difficult to keep up, but Princess said her biggest tool for overcoming any of this is definitely her daughter, always on her case to be positive, live in the present, and not deal with anything negative. That's pretty cool. You've got a pretty cool daughter there, for sure. Rioa says before Access, she used an anchoring tool from NLP. It was a song, and every time the negative self-talk started, it triggered an anchor, and the song would play in her head, and the self-talk would stop. That's also very cool. There are so many tools out there. Find what works for you.
Yeah.
Right? And sometimes, a tool you've been using for a while, maybe it doesn't work, and another one will. And it doesn't mean you throw the old one away. It's just, you just check it. Keisha says, if I am not buying or selling the story, who am I now, and what do I desire to be choosing now? I really like that one. The questions really can begin to unlock all sorts of places and spaces. And going into the why, I'll just say this is a big one for me. Going into the why this is happening, or why does this keep happening, that is actually a direction for your brain to go find a reason. And you're just going to go into your brain and you're going to find a lot of the same stuff that you've been using before. It's actually not going to create something new. So anyway, Joanne, what would you like to say?
I'd like to add to that, because there's been another tool actually that's been quite impressive to use, and it's based on my Kabbalah studies, and it's called the Proactive Formula. And essentially what you do is you sort of identify the negative feeling or the negative experience or the negative story that you're having, and it's the identification piece that's really important, which is really hard for a lot of us to get to. But once you're at that point, you simply ask for the light to come in. So what you're really doing is you're asking for access, for information from the universe, from God, from Source, to give you some direction. And the idea really is not to take a step until you actually get some sort of feedback from that place. And it could be, this is a highly intuitive tool which helps you to build the intuitive muscle, because you'll start to notice either words or phrases or people saying things to you that you'll need to hear right in that moment to access your next step. So it's a really brilliant tool that helps you to actually change a behavior almost instantly. It's kind of like an NLP tool, because my thought is on NLP that it's almost like it creates a huge dramatic shift almost instantly. And what the Proactive Formula really does is it allows the universe to give you that information about what's next, instead of you thinking about what could be next and tied up in all of the gunk that you might be swimming in. You're actually allowing the universe to expand your awareness and then choose the direction for you. So it's a really beautiful alignment process. Like I absolutely love doing that. Yeah, it's a beautiful tool. Let the light in is what I constantly like to use.
The one word that you said there that I'd like to just focus on just for just a minute is the word allow. And when we allow the light in, or we allow the universe to contribute to us, that is when things can shift. But how many of us have bought the lie that this is my terrible life, this is the way it's always been, it's never going to change, I'm going to be in debt forever, I'm never going to be this, I'm never going to have that, oh, poor me, oh, well, what if none of that is true?
And they're ultimately just thoughts at the end of the day that we're buying, right? They're ultimately just thoughts. Ultimately. Which then create like a slew of emotional drama. So what if we were to go to the source of it all and actually just change the thought? Just change the thought. So sometimes
make a new choice.
Yeah.
One of the tools that I love to use, I have these 5 questions. I guess I'm going to bring them in right now. I have these 5 questions that I ask clients, and I've used them on the show before, and I'm pretty sure I've shared them with you, Joanne. I call them the checkup from the neck up questions. So when I get into the heavy space, when I get into the heavy shit, the first thing I do is, okay, does the universe have my back? Yes. Do I have my back? Yes. Can anything ever truly destroy me? No. I may leave this body, but I'm going to come back again because I've been here before. So nothing ever can truly destroy you. Can I make another choice? Yes. And for some reason, the 5th question has left the building. Isn't that fun when that happens? when it comes back.
Apropos.
It's like, but bye bye, Rio.
Maybe it's just saying bye-bye.
Bye-bye. You don't need that anymore. Right. So it's really looking at, is this really significant? Is whatever the story is that I'm in right now, is this heaviness, is it really that significant? And is there a new possibility that could come in? Yes, there is. And that, again, that's another tool for me that starts to unlock it just a little bit, give it a little bit of space, give it a little bit of air so that I can breathe and then look at it from possibly a new perspective.
So here's ultimately what I would love to... So this is not about getting rid of negativity, or it's not about really stopping our storytelling. I think this is has a lot to do with understanding that in contrast, we learn more about what we want. And within the contrast, we grow. And so we kind of do need the negative in order to really accentuate the positive. If that makes any sense. I mean, I don't think we can be great if we can't sit in the shit and then come out of it, right? And wash ourselves off of it.
Well, I'm going to challenge you on that.
Go for it. Go.
Okay. I'm going to say we don't need shit, okay? Because what I've heard people say, well, this is actually a good thing that this has happened because this helps me to grow. That makes me want to gag, okay?
Why?
Okay, well, let me finish. I'll tell you. Damn it.
I'm waiting to pounce. Okay, go.
What I have seen people do, and oftentimes these are people that are pretty stuck, Joanne,
okay,
is that they justify shit as being a good thing. They justify negative things as being a good thing. Okay, I would please like to invite everybody to just hear what I'm saying and maybe just look at this for yourself. We do not have to have negative things occur in our lives in order for us to choose or create something different. However, when something is created, and we create everything in our lives, when we create something that's challenging or heavy or negative, there is an opportunity that is presented in the heaviness to shift out of it. Okay? Does that make sense, Joanne?
Totally.
Yeah, because honestly, I hear people justifying having shit happen. It's like, stop that. What are you doing? It's like, oh, I keep hitting my toe. Well, don't bang into the damn door. I posted a picture from Eckhart Tolle in the event page today. Some changes look negative on the surface, but you will soon realize that space is being created in your life for something new to emerge. I really love that.
Yes. I'm just reflecting on what you're saying, so excuse the pause.
No, pregnant pauses are good.
I think there is a very fine line between blessing a pain and self-perpetuating the pain. Do you know what I'm saying? I think that if the pain happens often, that pattern resurfaces time and time again, I think it's really important to take responsibility for shifting it, and that's something that we do for ourselves. But I think if the pain comes and it feels like, oh my God, where the hell did that come from, and it feels overwhelming, then in those instances, I'm much more willing to look at what's behind this. Like, what is the big message here for me that I need to see? I think there's just a very fine line between self-perpetuation and blessing, right? So,
yes.
Yeah.
I agree with you. And you know, the knowledge that we create everything in our lives, for me, when I got that, Joanne, when I really got that, like at first I was pretty ticked when somebody said that to me.
When somebody said what to you? Like, oh, it's a blessing kind of thing?
No, when we create everything in our lives. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I created that nonsense? Yeah. You know, it was him, right? This is what I would do. And when I was really ready to shift it, and you'll know, like you know when you're ready to shift something. When I was really ready to shift it, I was willing to look at that
Well, that sounds to me like when you're willing to take responsibility for it.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I looked at everything in my life, I had created it, and when I was willing to be with that, what it actually did was it really reinforced in my knowing that if I create everything in my life, then I have the capacity to create anything in my life. And that started to unlock so much. It wasn't even funny. It was like, okay, I created that yesterday. Okay, cool. I didn't create it alone, as my friend Rioa, brilliant facilitator Rioa Fortner, who's one of the producers in the chat room tonight. She assisted me with being stuck in something this week, and she said you weren't alone in the creation of that. There are other people that add to it, but we do create everything in our lives. And it was like, okay, cool. Okay, great. So, because we can go into beating ourselves up when we go, oh, I create everything in my life. Now look what I've done, which just perpetuates us back further down that rabbit hole, right? But when we're willing to look at, okay, I've created everything in my life. If I've created shit, I can create brilliance too.
Yes.
So before we go for break, I can't believe we're into the third break and when the show's just about over. Joanne, please tell all of our listeners what you are creating in the world right now and where they can connect with you.
Oh boy, that's a big question. I am creating emotionally healthy children. That's my sort of big purpose in the world. And to establish a system that supports that, especially the education system. So I work closely with parents and teachers to help create and support emotionally nurturing environments. And I also work with people one-on-one to really help unlock the emotional baggage that they're carrying. So I'm sort of like the emotion doctor in some respects.
Dr. Joanne, that's it.
Yeah.
I used to call you the love bug, but I'm going to change that to Dr. Joanne. You knew I was going to get that in tonight. You did know that. Come on, girl.
Please give it up. Give it up. Honestly, I would rather be liked for being effective rather than being impressive. That's sort of, so I'm very dedicated to creating effectiveness in the world and getting people to where they want to be sooner and faster with healing and with joy and peace and love at the end of the day. If things are not done with love, that's a failure unto itself. That's sort of what my belief is. But that's what I'm creating in the world. Yeah.
And they can connect with you at joannedelcore.com.
Yes, or on my website at joannedelcore.com.
That's fantastic.
Or on Facebook at my Being Anxiety Free page, or you can always ask for a friend request on my Joanne Delcore page.
That's fantastic. Excellent. Okay. We are going to go for a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to wrap up. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Stay tuned because we're going to giggle a little more, and we'd love to have you with us.
Many of us make choices in our lives based on the past or what others think. What would our lives be like if we made our choices based on what we desire in this moment? By tuning into Inspired Choices Radio Show with Possibilities Coach Christine McIver, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to do just that. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to create the life and living you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices Radio Show.
What would you say if I told you that you could change your life in only 1 hour and all while lying down relaxing? Thousands of people all over the world have. What am I talking about? It's called Access Consciousness, the bars. The bars is an energetic body process that contains 32 different points on your head that when run assist you in releasing decisions about any area of your life that you have made solid and as a result cannot change. The bars is the first class in Access Consciousness, a dynamic set of tools and information designed to transform any area of your life. When you have a bars session, the worst that can happen is you feel like you had a fantastic massage. The best thing that can happen is your whole life could change. Go to accessconsciousness.com today to find a facilitator to schedule a private session or to find a bars class in your area. Are you willing to give yourself an hour to change your life?
Being visible, being social, being heard. What desires are you ready to create? Would you like to take the next step to creating a potent presence on the web? Would it create more possibilities and expansion in your life? BeingVisible.ca offers website, social media, radio show creation, and more. Creating with consciousness, bringing the energy of you to your audience. Are you ready to connect with your audience clearly, regularly, and with ease? Christine McIver and Carol Glover work with individuals and organizations to create a powerful presence on the web. Personal attention and one-on-one training creates the ease with expanding you. Are you ready? Connect today at beingvisible.ca.
This is Inspired Choices Radio Show with Possibilities Coach Christine McIver. To participate in the program today, please call toll-free in the U.S. 815-880-8255, TALK, or Canada 613-800-8736. Or you can Skype us. Our Skype name is a2zen.fm. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine@inspiredchoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. Wow, this evening has gone very quickly with you, Joanne, as it usually does. Time really does fly. So before we conclude, I just want to let everybody know what I'm creating in the world. It's a brand new thing that I'm being pretty vulnerable about, but loving what's being created. I'm actually creating a book, and it's called Date Your Body. And it is a brand new experience that is creating massive shifts with me and my body and with other people. And we actually had a launch party last night. And it's actually, we did a fundraiser, and it's still open to everyone. You can check it out on Facebook, the Date Your Body book fundraiser, and there's all sorts of levels and contributions that you can be making and receiving back, and it's all about learning to be in relationship with your body in a whole new way that is joyful. So I would love to hear from people if they're interested in learning more about that. So Joanne, the final tool that you would like to share, the one that stands out most for you for helping yourself and assisting others to get out of their shit, out of their stories, out of their locked limitations, what would you say?
Vulnerability. That's sort of just, I'm going to wrap it up into one word, and that means being willing to be seen, being willing to be heard, being willing to be understood, and being willing to open yourself right to the core. And so that's what I'm going to say, because
beautiful.
The negativity can't exist in that place of beauty.
You're
and
right.
core. Yeah.
When you are in the space of vulnerability, nothing else can take up that space. And when you're willing to be that vulnerable with yourself and with someone that is willing to just be curious about what you're creating, you can create massive shifts on such a fast level. It's phenomenal. I've seen
so many of the problems in the world are as a result of us not being willing to be vulnerable.
Right. And being vulnerable is actually a strength. It's not a weakness. We heard one of the commercials is about the Access Consciousness bars modality. Both Joanne and myself do run bars. It's an amazing tool that starts to flush a lot of the locked spaces and places in our lives, and it's an easy modality. And if you would like to connect with Joanne or I and to have your bar session, or if you're listening from all around the world, you can go to accessconsciousness.com and you can find a bars practitioner in your area. And wow, that started to shift things. Well, it just started to unlock everything for me in my life 2 years ago. So I'm so glad that everyone was in the chat room. Thank you so much all for playing with us, contributing, creating this show so dynamically. Joanne, girl, I love you. And
I love you. Thank you for always bringing the rawness. I love it.
You rock, girlfriend. And as we said earlier, Joanne will be with me once a month, and we're going to see what we're going to be creating and playing with and changing the world, because you know what? When each of us are ready to show up, we can do that. So until we talk to you all next week, have an amazing week. Remember, You can change your story at any moment in any time, and you being you is the contribution the world desires. Have a brilliant week, everyone. Bye for now.
Thank you for choosing to listen to Inspired Choices Radio Show. Christine McIver will return next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and 5 p.m. Pacific Time on A2Zen.fm. We hope you'll join us. Until then, have the best week of your life by making the choices that bring you all that you desire.